So there was some big news earlier this week in the financial world that you probably didn't even hear about. You see, the Fico company, those guys that, generate your credit scores for you, they are now unveiling a new calculation methodology to calculate your credit scores. And while this has not gone live yet, it is scheduled to go live later this summer. So it's important that you know what it entails so you can properly plan and not be surprised. Hi, my name's Ben. Thanks for tuning in. This channel attempts to provide actionable financial advice so that you can better your future. So what you won't get with this channel is all of the investing hype. You're also not going to get a lot of flashy editing or corny jokes or anything like that. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to educate you with financial literacy. If you're looking to be entertained, go watch Netflix. So as earlier mentioned, Fico is coming out with their new credit system, which they are calling Fico 10, later this summer. Now, in order to properly explain what Fico 10 is, it's important to take a step back and go over the entire system that Fico has. You see, believe it or not, there is not one singular FICO score. They have many different methodologies to calculate your credit score. There's FICO 2, FICO 5, FICO 8, FICO 9, FICO 8 Auto. Bottom line is there are dozens of different ways that FICO calculates your credit score. And then it's up to the particular lender to choose which methodology they think is best for their particular industry in order to best gauge your overall creditworthiness. So FICO updates their formulas every handful of years because things change. New financial products come out, consumer spending changes, consumer habits change, and so in order to keep up with the times, the FICO company must constantly adjust their formula to accurately model your risk. The most commonly used FICO score currently is FICO 8. This was designed right after the 2008-2009 financial crisis when everything was, well, So FICO 8 is used for the vast majority of anything that's going to require a credit check for you. Some exceptions, however, is going to be the mortgage industry. So I don't think that this new FICO 10 is going to have an impact if you plan on applying for a mortgage within the next couple of years. You see, the mortgage industry uses the FICO 2, 4, and 5. Now the FICO 2, 4, and 5 are based on the three credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They basically look at everything the exact same way, it's just which credit bureau are they pulling from. So when you apply for a mortgage, they're going to pull from all three credit bureaus, that way they get all of your information. They're going to eliminate any kind of duplicates, and then they're going to take the middle score, and that's what they're going to use to determine your interest rates on your mortgage. So this new FICO 10 system is not likely to change the mortgage industry because the mortgage industry is pretty stable. Now I know 2009 messed everything up, and since it's still recent in our memories, we like to think that mortgages are hugely unstable. But the reality is, as far as the lender is concerned, they are extremely stable loans. You see, it's very easy if you go out and you get a mortgage and you stop making payments, the mortgage company is still going to get paid because they're going to foreclose on that house and then they're going to turn around and sell it. And so they have an easy way to recover all of their money. However, with other types of loans, auto loans and credit cards, it's not that easy for a lender to just get their money back if you stop making payments. Now with an auto loan, they at least have something. They can try to take back that car. But unlike a house, it's a lot harder to take that back because, first off, they have to find that car. Because if you're struggling financially, there's a good chance that you are sort of the nomadic type. You might have moved in with a boyfriend, girlfriend, you've maybe moved back home with mom and dad or couch surfing with a friend. You are probably not at the address that you originally got that loan from. So it's hard for this company to just take back their car if you stop making payments. And it's even harder with a credit card because that is not tied to any physical asset that they can come and seize if you don't make payments. And it's in this sector, the auto and credit card industry, that I think FICO 10 is going to take over. Now, it's not mandatory that lenders use this. They can keep on using FICO 8 if they want. And there's also a FICO 9 that's not very widely used. So it's not mandatory. It's going to take a little bit of time for lenders to adopt this new system. Now, they all calculate credit scores in kind of the same way. You know, late payments are bad, paying off your bills is good. And that's not going to change under any of these situations. But the methodology that they use is different on subtler levels. So for example, the FICO 8, which is, like I said, the most common scoring system that most lenders use, they pretty much ignore any collections accounts that are under $100. And the logic behind that is it's probably something like a utility bill or, a cell phone bill or something like that. You canceled your service, but there was one last little fee or surcharge or something going on, and you were in the process of moving to a different state, and that's why you shut off your utilities, and they're keeping on sending you bills and notices and payment demands to your old address, which you're never getting. So there's a lot of people that had collections accounts that they weren't even aware of. And so FICO 8 pretty much ignores this. FICO 9, which is used by Wells Fargo and a few others, they look at collections, medical collections, differently. So if you have a medical bill that's in collections, that's not going to hurt your credit score nearly as bad as a credit card bill that's overdue or in collections. So now that we have a general understanding of what the whole FICO ecosystem looks like, let's take a look at what FICO 10 is and what it's going to mean for you when it goes into effect later this summer. Because unlike FICO 9, which is not very widely used, I think that FICO 10 will eventually become the new norm and is going to be used by most lenders. So let's take a look at what it's going to look for. So the first thing that FICO 10 is going to do is it's going to place an even higher emphasis on late payments. Now, late payments always hurt your score, and they always hurt a lot. But under FICO 10, a late payment is going to hurt even more than it already does. Thankfully, it's super easy with online banking to never miss a payment. Go online and set up automatic bill pay with your credit card company. Preferably for the full balance of your credit card statement each month, but at minimum, if you're kind of that struggling person that's paycheck to paycheck, at minimum, set up automatic bill pay for the minimum balance due on your credit card. That way you are sure to never miss a payment. So what's unique though about FICO 10 as opposed to all previous credit scoring models is that the previous models only looked at a particular snapshot in time for your credit score. Whereas FICO 10 is going to look over the last 2 years specifically and analyze that data and try to get to know you and your spending and financial patterns to better model your overall risk. Now, what this means for you is that it is going to do a kind of a flow and trend analysis. So maybe your credit card bills spiked up one particular month because it was Christmas spending or you went on a holiday or something like that. So that spike in your bills is not going to hurt your credit score, assuming that over the next, whatever reasonable amount of time, the next few months, those bills get paid back down and basically get paid off. However, if you are somebody that is consistently carrying a balance on your credit cards from month to month, this will destroy your credit under the new FICO 10 system. Because with FICO 10, it's going to look at the last 2 years and say, man, for 2 years straight, you just are carrying a super high balance on your credit cards. you're pretty well maxed out, you're not paying it off every month, you're spending a lot of money on interest and carrying this debt forward, you are just a risky person for them to lend money to. And the last thing that they're really going to hammer home on is personal loans, consumer loans. These are basically loans that are not backed up by any physical asset that a lender can just simply repossess if you stop making payments on these. So if you have any personal loans, you're going to want to start paying those down as quickly as you can, because under this new FICO 10 system, those personal loans are going to hurt your credit score. So with all these changes, why is FICO and the FICO 10, why do they care about these particular things? Well, honestly, I think it's because you're too smart. Consumers are getting smarter, and they realize that your credit score is super important. And so what they'll do is they'll go and they'll dispute any late payments. And so some of those late payments that they had will then fall off of their credit score, thus increasing their score. And then they'll also go on and they'll get some trade lines. They'll become an authorized user. Maybe they've got a friend or family member that has really good credit, and they're willing to add them as an authorized user on their credit card. And that, combined with disputing these charges, is going to have this massive boost to your credit score. But even though you got this massive boost to your credit score, you're still the same person. I mean, realistically, you're just as risky today as you were yesterday, even though your score may have changed by 50 or 100 points or whatever the difference was. So the FICO company realizes that people are kind of gaming the system and artificially boosting their credit score higher than it realistically should be. So you can, like I said, you can become an authorized user and you can, dispute transactions. But the one thing that you can't get rid of is your debt. And so that's what they're going to start focusing on a little bit more, is your debt patterns. Are you carrying a balance forward each month? So this new FICO 10 model will punish some people. If you have kind of on the lower end of the credit scale, maybe you're in the 500s or low 600s, chances are you have a few late payments or you have a few things going on that's not real great for your credit. And that's probably going to get punished even harder under this new FICO 10 system. So it's important, if you are kind of on that lower end of the credit spectrum, that you really start to focus in on your credit now, because chances are when this FICO 10 goes into effect, your credit score is going to drop even more unless you do something about it now. So that is the new FICO 10 in a nutshell. If you're interested in a few other tips and tricks on how to increase your credit score, be sure to check out a few other videos. And if you found this video useful, be sure to leave a comment down below and subscribe. And I'll see you all again next time.